10 out of 10, not a good idea, do not recommend. We give ourselves an easy out because we are so uncomfortable. Things could be different if you start showing up different. But the reason why I cannot stand motivation, trying to change everything at once is a recipe for burnout. Which, knowing that doesn't make it any easier to work towards our goals. And I'm gonna be honest with you here, this has been one of the hardest things for me to implement in my life. I heard something like 80% of people abandon their New Year goals by February. And I know that shouldn't really be that surprising because there's that meme that always floats around in my head. Like the gym in January and it's like super busy, full, packed to the brim. And then the gym like end of February or wherever it is. And the gym's like empty like a desert. So like, I feel like this is pretty common knowledge. So why does this happen and how can we avoid being a part of the statistic? The stat. Let's talk about it. So of course, so many of us feel so excited to start fresh for the new year. You know, the whole new year, new me vibe. By the way, new year, new desk setup. It's really cute. I love it. We're going with the all white here. So far so good. I'm still playing around with things, but we'll see where we end up by the end of this year. To be honest, I've never really loved the idea of like new year, new me. I feel like you're the same person that you were on the 31st. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'm very big on that. I've said it so many times in so many different videos. So nothing actually changes from the 31st to the 1st. The only thing that will actually change is your decision to start making changes and you following through with those decisions with actions to start making changes. So nothing actually like will change from the 31st to the 1st just because the calendar date changed. So that's why I'm just not so big on this, and I feel like the whole New Year resolution, it really feeds off of motivation. And we'll dig a lot deeper into this because I am very passionate about this. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to make the changes. But often our little friend self-sabotage gets in the way. And that little friend of ours can be so sneaky. So I wanted to share some of the things that have really impacted me when it comes to making changes in my life and some of the things that I'm currently implementing right now. When it comes to why most people quit their goals by February, I believe that these 4 mistakes really play into it. Mistake number 1 is relying solely on motivation. And we're getting right into the whole motivation thing that I was teasing to earlier. But when you first set a goal, or maybe you watch something that inspires you, it's like lighter fuel to your goals. You're fired up, you're ready to go. But the reason why I cannot stand motivation is that it is not reliable, it ebbs and flows, it's not a consistent thing. Motivation is a feeling, and we go through a roller coaster of emotions throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. So that feeling is not a consistent thing that we can rely on to attach our goals to. This is why I refuse to attach my goals to feelings like motivation. I like to attach them to things like discipline or feeling prepared instead of, ooh, I'm feeling so motivated, now's the time to attack my goal. I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the mindset of discipline. I am working towards being prepared, because feeling prepared and feeling disciplined, those feelings, anchoring into those feelings are going to get me so much further and be way more sustainable instead of anchoring myself into only showing up for my goals when I'm feeling the emotion of motivation. So think about, what emotions do you want to attach your goals to? What emotions do you want to embody as you're showing up for your goals? Is it consistent? Is it something that can be sustained? Motivation is like a burst of energy, and it fades extra quick when things start to get hard. So when things start to get hard, you need to be anchoring yourself into something that is sustainable to work through the rough points. Because as we work towards goals, it's not always going to be smooth sailing. There's going to be some rocky seas ahead. So what I'm learning to do instead is to focus on building better and stronger and more flexible systems and habits around my goals. And those habits and systems don't rely on how I feel in the moment. This way, I am able to continue working on my goals even when motivation is nowhere to be found. I'll tell you right now, motivation is nowhere to be found today, okay? We are on day 3 of our period, and I'd rather be in bed eating snacks. But I'm here, I am filming, I am showing up for myself in 2025. That is a miracle in itself, because usually my period has me in the bed almost flatlined, okay? And I don't want anyone to mistake this for not making time for rest, because I am equally passionate about that. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? Rest is important, and I think it's required. in order to work towards our goals, but that's a conversation for a whole other day. What I'm trying to say is we need rest, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're going to throw our goals on the back burner because it's a Tuesday and the sky is blue and our goals aren't happening quick enough. And we just don't feel like it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is the consistent small habits that add up over time. And motivation was never meant to be a part of the equation. Yes, it's a great feeling. Yes, it can help give you that little burst of energy from time to time. Yes, it's a great little bonus. But being able to anchor yourself into something more sustainable, more reliable, is going to take you way further. Mistake number 2. You're trying to overhaul your whole life overnight. 10 out of 10, not a good idea, do not recommend. Building off motivation is that excitement for the end result. You want it all and you want it now, before that burst of energy disappears. You just want to tackle it all because you're excited. But I know all too well that this leads to overwhelm and burnout. It takes so much time and energy to change one habit. So imagine running into the new year trying to change 10 to 15 different things in your life. 10 to 15 habits that you've been repeating and ingraining in yourself over the last 6 to 12 months, or probably more for a lot of us. Trying to change everything at once is a recipe for burnout. I really do think this one is such a struggle to overcome because those feelings of motivation are usually there at the start of the year. Everyone's talking about their goals. Everyone's trying to change their life, be that girl, like do all the things. So it's just like, as a society, that motivating energy is there. And so it can be really hard to not want to overhaul everything, not want to change everything, not want to, it's almost like some of us are feeding into that FOMO and you feel like, oh, I'm missing out if I'm not doing and being all the things. You're not. Spoiler alert, you're not missing out. Okay, you get to do this at your pace. You get to do this at the capacity that you have in this season of life. And whatever that looks like compared to the next person is irrelevant. While we might have those feelings of wanting to do it all right now because we're feeling so motivated and we want to take advantage of this before that feeling goes away, it's just not realistic. For most of us, I will say, I'm not going to try and speak for everyone, but I know for the people like me out there, it's just not realistic to try and overhaul your life overnight, especially if you don't have the time and resources and support to do so. It would take a lot without substantial resources and support. What I think is way more sustainable is to tackle one thing, or maybe one thing in each area that you want to work on. I picked 4 main areas that I want to work on, like personal wellness, finances, stuff like that. So I've picked like one main thing that I want to focus on each of those, in each of those topics. So pick one thing and tackle that, get really consistent with that, and then build off of that. And I know like habit stacking is a really popular buzzword right now in like the personal development, personal self-improvement world, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's for good reason. You can get a lot further by slowly building off the momentum of realistic consistency. So focus on 1 or 2 things and let that compound over time. And I'm going to be honest with you here. This has been one of the hardest things for me to implement in my life. Even when it comes to just writing my to-do list for the day, I am known to jam-pack my to-do list. Put so many things and not even taking into account how much time it takes me to even do each task. And this is something I'm currently working on because I overload it and then I beat myself up for not getting everything done when the things I put on my list, it wasn't even realistic to get them all done in a day. And when I stop and dig deeper and really look at how long each task usually takes me, I'm like, of course I didn't get all of this done in a day. Like, it's just not realistic. My to-do list is not realistic. I'm working on it and I'm okay with that because I've also gotten so much better at giving myself grace and no longer really beating myself up if I'm not finishing my to-do list. It's all a work in progress, like giving myself grace, learning how to break down how much time my tasks take me, and learning how to manage my to-do list better so that I'm not putting so much pressure on myself, but I am still taking action towards the things that matter in my life. It's a real balancing act, and like I said, something that I'm currently working on because I do not have it all figured out, and I just love making these videos to share what's working for me or what has helped me in the past. But I am no expert, I am no guru, I am in this just as much as you are. And I'm really proud of myself because I've actually done this year when it comes to like my goals. And I feel like I've really simplified everything. And it's been like a breath of fresh air. And it all feels way more achievable than like, how am I supposed to tackle this? And then like your mind's going crazy and like you're going into it with like a little bit of self-doubt sprinkled in there because you're like, ooh, this is a lot. Like if I accomplish all of this, that's amazing. But like if you don't and you only accomplish half of it, that's still amazing. And maybe you put too much on your goal list, okay? And that's okay, okay? We are all a work in progress. And I still battle with that little voice in my head, like,
oh, that's it? That's all you put on your list? Oh, that's not enough.
But it is enough, and I had to make that decision that this is enough. And I'm making that decision right here, right now, and so can you. It is enough. You are enough. Let's say you haven't been working out at all and you want to start moving your body more this year, right? Instead of making a goal like, I'm going to get to the gym Monday to Friday every single day this week, start by making a goal to like just get to the gym twice in 1 week. Because going from 0 workouts to consistently doing 2 workouts a week for the whole year is massive. That's 104 workouts, okay? Compared to the year before where you did 0 workouts or maybe one. Maybe you went for a walk. But do you see the difference there? Like going from 0 to 104 workouts is a huge jump. But for some reason, we tell ourselves it's not good enough. We tell ourselves it can't make any real change in our lives, but that's a lie. That is a limiting belief that we are telling ourselves. It can feel so small, but I feel like it will serve you so much more because what often happens is you choose to go so hard. Let's go Monday to Friday every single day. We're getting up early. We're getting up 5 a.m. We're going to the gym. We're taking ourselves seriously. And then by February, you're burnt out because you've been going from 0 to 60 and your body can't keep up. You haven't built this into your lifestyle yet. And you've just like changed things so quickly overnight that it's not sustainable. There is so much value and power to slowly building things. Not to say that your goals aren't supposed to be a struggle. You have to know your capacity for the season that you are in. Start small, build off the consistency over time. Which brings me to mistake number 3, and this is a big one. You have a poor relationship with delayed gratification. I think this is a massive one. Like, this is so huge, especially in our society where we are so hung up on getting things like that. I don't know if you know this because there was a time when I did not know this, so I'm going to share it for anyone who did not know this. But our brains are literally wired to avoid pain. And not just physical, I got a paper cut kind of pain. Like mental pain, emotional pain, pain on all levels. But not only that, it is designed to do 2 other things. Conserve energy and to seek pleasure or comfort. These are all survival mechanisms from back when we were cavemen, right? But it's 2025. And our caveman brain just hasn't caught up with the times. So our brains are literally wired to fight with us every single step of the way, which knowing that doesn't make it any easier to work towards our goals. Every single step of the way as we push through that discomfort of creating new habits, our brain is going to be fighting with us, trying to seek comfort, seek pleasure, avoid the pain of pushing through that discomfort because creating new habits and working towards your goals, there are uncomfortable moments. You are changing, you are evolving, you are growing. Hence the name Growing Pains. We have such a hard time giving our goals time to breathe and build because we live in this world of instant gratification, but real goals take real time. So when things aren't happening quick enough, we want to throw in the towel. We give ourselves an easy out because we are so uncomfortable. We're so uncomfortable with not getting things handed to us instantly that we self-sabotage ourselves and take the path of least resistance. What if the magic lies within putting in the work to get comfortable with not getting instant results? To overcome that instant gratification trap? What if I told you that you had to learn how to show up when the work feels uncomfortable? What if I told you it's a learned behavior? When things aren't happening fast enough, when it feels boring, what if it was just a matter of having to learn how to work through those feelings? Show up through those not so great feelings. Now I know that doesn't sound fun or sexy or all those things, but it is realistic. I'll tell you, this mindset shift has helped me so much in my life, in all areas of my life. Because when you stop expecting the journey to be fun or sexy or easy, or to always feel motivated, you can get into the mindset of pulling up your sleeves and putting in the work to build that consistency. And what has been really helpful for me is creating little milestones along the way. Smaller goals that help me reach my bigger goals. So that it doesn't feel like I have so long to go before I reach that big goal. It feels so far away. Let's create smaller milestones so we have something exciting to look forward to that isn't that far away. And a great example of this is when I started my YouTube channel. You know, the requirements, you need 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. And that 1,000 subscribers felt so far away, especially when my videos were barely getting 10 views. It truly felt impossible. I know a lot of smaller YouTubers or people who haven't even started their YouTube journey yet, they feel this way. They feel like the monetization goals are impossible, or like YouTube makes it impossible for you to monetize your channel. And I was feeling that way as well. So I made little milestones for me. Like my first goal wasn't to hit my 1,000 subscriber requirement. My first goal was to hit, it was really 100, but I think I was really just aiming for my first 50, if I'm being completely honest. But let's just say like the first 100. And I was okay with that taking a year because I was like, I'm only getting 10 views. I need to learn how YouTube works. I need to get better at making videos. I need to get better at figuring out who my audience is. There's so much I still need to learn. So I became super realistic when I was creating these milestones on the timeline that I wanted them to happen. So it was the first 100 subscribers. Then my next goal was 300. Then the next goal was 500. Next goal was 800. And then my next goal was the 1,000. So really breaking that down, I was just working towards the next couple hundred subscribers. And it just felt way more achievable, all while working towards that bigger goal of getting to the 1,000 without having to like look that far ahead. Like just get to the next 100. And if you are a fellow YouTuber, I will say that this is completely out of our control, this subscriber goal. And I go a lot into like action-based goals and results-based goals, and this is a results-based goal. And I'm not really a big fan of these kind of goals because you don't have any control over them, but we won't dig into that. But yeah, this I had no control over this goal. I can't make people click subscribe, but I was taking actions that I knew byproduct of those actions were that there is a higher chance for me to gain more subscribers, if that makes sense. But there are so many ways that you can create smaller milestones or just like rewards to claim for yourself as you work towards the bigger goals. You could give yourself a little reward each time that you reach a little milestone instead of just waiting until you reach the big milestone and then I'll celebrate. You know what I mean? You can celebrate in different ways along the way. Mistake number 4 is something that I also see a lot, and that is the all or nothing mindset. We all know the mindset.
Well, I ruined today, so what's the point of doing anything else? Well, I wasn't perfect today, so I give up.
And if you fall victim to this mindset, you need to hear this right now. Remember it, write it down if you need to. Put it on your mirror if that helps. A slip up does not equal a failure. Okay, imagine this. You need to go to the store for this very specific thing at this very specific store. And there is only one main road that you can take to get to this very specific store. Eventually, as you get down this road, it breaks off into other little roads that you can choose from. But to get to those other roads, you need to take this main road. So you start driving down this main road to get to this very specific store to get your very specific thing. And then you start driving and you see something and you're like, what is that? And as you approach closer, you realize it's a speed bump. Instead of slowing down as you get to these speed bumps and just making your way to the store, you just turn around and go home. You throw the whole plan out the window and you never arrive at your destination. And you never get that specific thing that you were after. This is what the all or nothing mindset is. And when you think about it in this concept, it seems a little silly. Like, okay, just go over the speed bump. We'll get there eventually. Because in this example, the road you were driving down is Consistency Drive. And the slip ups are the little speed bumps along the way. Sure, they might slow us down, but we're still going to get to our destination if we continue on the journey. So the next time you find yourself in this all or nothing mindset, think of the speed bumps and think of the choice you want to make the next time that you find yourself approaching one. Turn around and go home, or slow down, get over the bump, and move closer to your destination. The progress over perfection approach is a way more effective mindset because consistency will beat perfection every single time. Remember, do not quit the plan. Just pick up where you left off. I needed this reminder more than I knew. So how do we stay on track? Build off of small, consistent habits instead of relying on motivation. Start small instead of overhauling your life overnight. Learn how to embrace the uncomfortable feelings of delayed gratification and celebrate the small wins. And most importantly, choose to overcome your slip-ups. Focus on progress, not perfection. And as you work towards your goals in 2025, remember that realistic goal setting is not about being perfect. It's about showing up consistently. And the best part is that you get to define what consistency looks like for you. Avoid these mistakes and use some of the tips that I shared with you that have helped me, and things could change for you this year. Things could be different. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and things could be different if you start showing up different. Let me know which one of these resonated with you the most, and if there's anything that you would add to this, I would love to hear it, so let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Share this video with anyone that you know that might be trying to work towards some goals this year, and I hope to see you tuning in to another video soon. Bye!